change Wi-Fi's because of the delay. It was like a 1 minute delay from you hearing from what I was saying. But have you got me clearly now?
Yeah, I have now. Yeah, that's really good.
Great. So where it cut out was you were telling me about the services that you guys offer at your spa.
Yep. So nails, gel nails, not extensions, just gel nails. All types of massages, facials with Biocos, ear candling. We don't do hair, as we have Dio Salon, which I know is pretty famous in Bali. They have 2 salons, one in Legian and one in Seminyak. They're right next door to us. So we don't offer any braiding or hair type services.
Okay. Now, can we sort of talk about the business structure of that you have? Is it because your husband's Indonesian? Is it set up in his name, or is it in your name? Names? What's the structure of the business setup?
Yep. So it's set up in his name. I've talked to my accountant in Australia because obviously with foreign income declaring all that sort of stuff. So he said in terms of your return on investment, if you were to make a lot of profit, then obviously we would need to declare it in Australia. But we haven't come to that yet. I'm hoping, but not yet.
It's a difficult market at the moment here in Bali.
It is.
Especially in the Seminyak area. Was there a reason why you chose Seminyak? Like before the opportunity came up with the shops, were you thinking, let's maybe look at doing something in Bali, or it really was just due to that opportunity?
It really was just due to that opportunity. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's been a year. Do you regret it? Oh, and we've lost her. Let's just add her back to the stream. There we go. We lost you. We're having all the issues tonight.
I know. Sorry. Bali, no, that's what it's like.
It's fine. It's Bali. You just get on with it. I asked, do you regret it? You've been going a year.
No.
You think, well, what do we do?
No. And we spend our nights calling them, and we do have a camera in the front. Obviously, it can spin around. We don't spin it around to the rooms, but it faces the front, and we can just see because it's set back a little bit, so we can just see the front, just see the road. So we spend our nights ringing them, trying to teach them a little bit more English. How's your day been? Any problems? So he absolutely I do love it too. So yeah, it has been great. It's fun.
Yeah, that's
even though it's challenging, it's fun.
Yeah, I was just thinking before, how do you separate yourself from the million other spas that are here? How do you...
Cleanliness. And, we are just sitting there. We have been sitting there a lot. And the Aussies, I should say Western people, have actually said, oh, my God, it's just so clean, because we've gone with the not pure white. There's a little bit of colour, but cleanliness. Everyone comments on how clean it is, because we're big on that. I don't personally. I get a bit when I go to dirty spas. Every country has them. We have them in Australia. I'm not, characterising Indonesia. I'm just saying big on cleanliness. And so Alami, it means natural, as you would know. So we've got plants hanging up and kind of kept it looking fresh.
Okay. Yeah. Was it a big investment to do?
No, I would say no. Our rent is, I would consider, cheap for Bali, or particularly for Seminyak. Like I said, we've only had to pay the 1 year up front. I would say, so example, breaking it down, there was a squat toilet there. Well, you can't have a squat toilet, can you? So we put in a Western toilet. We put a shower hose in there. We put in a cabinet. We put in 4 walls, and then we bought the furniture. We actually had the furniture made. And I'm going to say under 10 grand to do all the aircon. You have to put in everything. It's a blank shop when you get there. The flooring, everything. It's just blank. So I'm going to say, yeah. And again, remember, it's 11 by 4, so it's tiny.
11 meters by 4 meters, do you mean?
Yeah, it's small.
Yeah, that's very small.
It is very.
Yeah. That's. I'm just trying to think where the location of it, and it is sort of challenging to get people to come away from that main street. What I've noticed in Bali is the main streets are really where the foot traffic is, and people sort of are a bit unsure of going down the side streets. Would you say that's kind of
absolutely
fair?
Yes, further on from us there's a lot of gangs, so a lot of laneways, and there's a lot of villas in there. So I think that's where we get our foot traffic, people walking from their villa to back out to the main road where Bintang supermarket is. So if you were to walk, it would probably take you to Bintang maybe a bit over 10 minutes. But yeah, very challenging because in our street is still villas. It's quite residential. The biggest thing in that street is Yellowstone. So, and we are right next door to them. But like I said, so the owners there are awesome, very fair, very, they'll support you however they can. Yeah, they're awesome. So we're very lucky. So that gave me, like, obviously, so my husband's name's Darwin, so he was comfortable, but to have them guys there made me a lot more comfortable. And I guess because of the investment, I mean, 9-10 grand is not that much. I mean, people, you don't realise, like, I look at these big establishments, I think, oh my God. So on the corner now is the Goat. And I think, oh my God, they must have spent so much money. Like, now that I know how much it cost us to set up this tiny little 11 by 4, and they're so good with decorating, and the Indonesian people are so good with all of that. They've just got this skill, this knack of making things look amazing. But again, then I now have my eyes open and I'm looking at going, oh my God, that must have cost hundreds of thousands to get those bigger places looking, and even the bigger, Alami Spas and all those. I'm like, wow, that would have cost a lot of money. And to manage the staff too, wow. So for us not living here and just having this small one, it's a great startup. And if we can make it a lot more busy, or, it becomes, we're practicing too. We're learning every day.
Seems like you're very surprised by the cost.
Yeah, I was actually, to be honest. Yeah, I was. Like, 10 grand's 10 grand, isn't it?
Yeah. What did you think it was going to cost?
To be honest, I probably thought it was going to cost a little bit more once we started, like, so Darwin's best friend was going around when we weren't here. He'd go and buy an aircon and he'd be messaging us, oh, this is how much. In one breath, I kind of thought that it would be cheaper when you compare things to Australia. But then on the other hand, when I was seeing how much things were costing, I was like, oh, wow. So, yeah, a bit of both, to be honest.
Yeah, people don't actually realise the costs of it here. It's actually, they think it's all cheap because the prices are cheaper, but there are costs that are, the establishment costs are quite large. How long was the process for setting up the company? And have you gone with a foreign investment company vehicle, or is it a local Indonesian company?
Local.
Local, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so I didn't get involved in that too much because, not that I don't understand it, I understand a little bit of it, but even we were talking before about, who collects the rubbish? Who does you know, like, so it's the local bunja that, like the local council, what we would call in Australia. So they do the rubbish collection for you. They provide a security service, so they'll, you know, go around at night and make sure there's no one smashing windows and robbing all the places, and just all the little things that you don't think of.
Mm. I guess would equate them to like our rates, our yearly rates.
Yes,
Yep.
Yep.
So they exist here. They're not as expensive as back in Australia, but they still definitely exist here.
Yes.
How many times have you come to Bali before you decided to do the business here?
Oh, before I decided, I've been coming here since I was 9 years old. So my parents would come every year. But more recently, I had only been here a couple of times before we opened. My husband comes here more often, but yeah, I've got to work.
You got to work. Yeah, you got to work. What's been one of the biggest eye openers that you've? I mean, you're no longer a tourist when you come here. You're a business owner now. So the way you see Bali would have changed just from having a business. What's been one of the biggest eye openers for you as a business owner that I think you'd like to share with other people if they're going to think of doing business here?
Staff.
Tell me about that.
Wow. Often they won't share their concerns. So if they've got a problem, you know, like us Aussies, we'll just go, we don't like this, we don't like that, whatever. So I try to get them to talk, like, have you got any problems? Have you got any issues? And, oh, no, it's okay. Everything's fine. And then next minute it's not fine. It's like, that has been massive. And I thought you could just get a therapist and they'd all automatically be outgoing and confident and speak English and be able to do nails and massage and everything. They can't. So the 4 that we've got now, and even though, so the male, his name's Olin, he can speak English, but he's shy. So staff has been the biggest, absolutely the biggest. And the other thing I think that I worry about, so I was talking to a lady who owns a beauty salon in Brisbane, and she said, you need to promote that you're Aussie owned. And I said, I look on like different Facebook groups, you know, Bali Bogans or Michelle Brand or whoever, and sometimes half of the population of Aussies think Aussie owned's great because, you know, then, you know, the standards are a little bit higher in terms of with the spa, the hygiene. But then the other side of it, they might get angry and go, well, I don't want my profits, my money going back to Australia. I want to support the locals.
Oh, so that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm like, she's going, you need to promote it's Aussie. And I'm like, oh, but then if I say that, are they going to be thinking, you know, that the money's going back to us? So what we've done is, because we've clicked over into our second year, because our first year was quite not that busy, but now we're starting to get like repeat customers, massive with Koreans. Koreans are booking a lot with us, which is interesting. I don't know where they're getting the information from, but I'm a little bit, I don't know, do I promote Aussie owned, do I not? So because we've clicked into our second year and we are getting a little bit more busy, we're going to go and have a staff meeting after this, and we're going to put their pay up. So, yeah, so we haven't really taken money from the business. We introduced, example, the other day, safety deposit boxes under the bed. Yeah, they're $50 each. You know, just trying to make it better.
Yeah, those small little things make you feel more comfortable there, because, I mean, even I in the past, you hang your clothes up, you've got your wallet in there, and you're like, got to make sure everything's safe. Because there is that fear that something might happen. Someone might try and take something from you, because you hear horror stories all the time. So having something like that, I think, is a great move as a business initiative, just to create that it is safe here. I was just thinking, though, you'd have to be very careful saying it's Australian owned when it's not technically, because legally people will try and trip you up and report you to immigration, and then it can just cause problems. And they don't necessarily know what the hell's happening. But I think just in the past, from my experience where I've spoken with lawyers and my understanding, just got to be careful with that in case something does go wrong, because technically it's not Australian owned, or if it is, then you've got the wrong company set up as well. So
yes,
I think it's a tough one to navigate. I wouldn't do that. Like, for example, people seem to get very, like, this is something that happened to me today and yesterday. So we've connected from TikTok, my TikTok stuff, where this is going live at the moment. And somebody messaged on one of my posts, I wonder if immigration, if you're breaching your visa restrictions by being a tour guide here. And, immigration would love to hear about you. Now, this person has no idea about what visa I'm on, what my actual business is, anything like that. And I laughed at them. I commented back and laughed and just said, "Go, let's go, do your thing." And they've commented back saying, "Okay, I've reported you to immigration. They're looking forward to meeting you." But it's just like small things like that. It's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not in breach of anything. But once you do, if you start to toe that line, it's like sometimes it's like it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Yes. So that's why I think, well, like you say, it's not Aussie owned.
Yeah,
it's him, not me. But
that's right.
Do I try and put my stamp on it? But I just think it's not worth it.
I think it can cause a lot of problems.
Just try and educate the staff about the cleanliness and the hygiene, and
And how much do staff cost? How do you find out how much you pay staff? Are there award wages within your industry? Is that a similar thing with the back?
Yeah, so it's area dependent. So this area is $3 million a month. So
meaning
you need to, I think it's a little bit wider. I haven't investigated that because I'm not in the area, but I think it goes into Legiana, maybe Kuta. But it's $3 million a month. So we give them a base salary and commission as well. And if they work overtime, they get overtime.
And what do you charge for your services, your massage? How do you stay competitive with that?
A lot of Googling all around. Yeah. A lot of Googling about the area, and I think we're about right. I know sometimes you see people, I've got, I got a massage for $10. I think we're just over. I think we're about 13 for an hour. So, we just try and stay within the similar range. Some are a little bit dearer. The high end ones are obviously a lot dearer. So no, I just Google, walk around, grab a pamphlet from all the massage places. And
I think there's definitely a market for a more expensive massage service. Like if you look at Reborn Spa out in Geelong Sunset, where people go to it, I mean, they're $250,000, $300,000 for 2 hours type thing. And they're always packed. You do need to book, and they definitely, and they get a lot of locals that go there. I mean, I found it from an old friend who told me about it years ago, the second time I lived here. And what I've noticed a couple of times I've been back this time, the prices have definitely increased, but they're still busy and people are still willing to pay a little bit more. So if you've got that service level there, which seems like you're trying to create, people are willing to pay more. So I don't always think being cheaper or the cheapest is the best way.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Like I said, I'm just that big on the hygiene of it. I'd rather go to a place that's a little bit cleaner. What's $1 or $2? And when they get a tip, they're so excited.
Oh, really? So it's important. So we should tip them?
Like $2. They're like, they're photocopying. They're taking a photo of the 20,000 and they're sending it to, my God, look at this. Yeah, they love it. I'm not saying everyone has to tip. Don't get me wrong. You do you. I don't, I've tipped places. Some I do, some I don't, whatever. But Oh my God. Yeah.
That's so funny. My team does that back in Australia. When they get tips from tours, they send through photos to see who got the most tips that day. It's really, they love it when Americans come through. They're like, oh, here comes all the tips.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Have you had any culture shock or reverse culture shock going back to Australia?
No. I always think Bali or Indonesia, because we travel to Java as well, makes me not so materialistic.
What do you mean by that?
You know, you come here and so my husband obviously have friends and we go to their place and they've just got this little room and they're so happy. And one of his friends always says, we go, oh, your light's not working on your motorbike. It's all right, I'm still alive. Do you know what I mean? Oh, my surfboard's broken. My fin's come off. That's all right, I'm still alive. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. What a good attitude.
So
do you know what I mean? So, and then, simplistic, and they're so goddamn happy. I think that's why so many people are
gone. Why do you think the Balinese? I mean, Bali's known as the land of smiles. Why do you think there is that happiness here?
I was going to say, is it their simple life? But since I've been married to one, it's actually not as simple as you think. You think everyone's lovely and happy, and they have the same issues that we do. Like, they have bullying at school, and you don't think that they do, but they do.
Of course they do.
You know, I was just, yeah, that's right. And I was talking to my husband's friend just before, and we were talking about, you know, when you go for a walk in Australia, or he goes, oh, do people say hello to you? He said, because I've heard they're not as friendly in Australia as when they are here. And I said, oh, yeah, some do and some don't. And he said, you know, because sometimes the women here, they'll go for a walk together and they'll see their friend, they'll go, hi, and then they keep walking, they go, oh, we don't like her. And I went, oh, my God, that happens in Australia too. So we're having a good old laugh about that. So it can be similar, but yeah.
I guess, what would be your top 3 tips to someone that wanted to create business here? And tell me that. What if someone wanted to do that?
Go to a lawyer or a notarist.
Why?
To make sure, because you need to make sure you're doing the right thing. Really, that would be one massive thing. To make sure your lease is above board, and you don't want to open up a whatever you open and then 6 months someone kicks you out because they want to sell the building or something. You know, like, oh my God, you've just invested all this money and then you're gone. Hopefully, if you've got someone that you can trust that can speak the language as well, I think that's another big tip. So I'd say, notarist, lawyer, someone that can speak the language, and be patient.
Do you speak the language?
No, I could get by. I can understand more than I can speak. As you know, everything's back to front. It's cat black, not black cat. So, yeah, I can get by, but I get things in the wrong order. So I get the gist of what they're talking about most of the time, not always, if they're not too fast.
Is that frustrating?
Sometimes it can be, because like this morning, I wanted to talk to them about this whole hand towel thing, and Darwin was out the front busy. So I just pulled my phone out and I went, hygiene, infection control, and then we're showing each other the phone and they're like, oh, yeah. So sometimes, I just want to get it out, but I can't. So it can be a little bit sometimes, yes. Yeah. Particularly with the business. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's where that patience that you mentioned really comes into it. Tell me, have your patience been tested over the last 14 months?
Probably only a couple of times. So Darwin used to be on Bali time, but because he's lived in Australia for, just over 10 years now, he's got Western time now. And his best friend, who does a lot of stuff for us, he's taught him to be, come on, come on, come on. So he's actually like that now as well. But, you know, yeah, Bali time can be a bit frustrating. Like, you know, I want to go and buy I don't know, our sign out the front was getting a bit tutted. I wanted a new blackboard. Well, I couldn't find one, and I'm trying to Google it, and I'm, you know, so that sort of thing. I'm in Australia. I'll go to Bunnings, or, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's challenging, isn't it? I mean, I'm in the hunt for a whiteboard at the moment, and I'm struggling to find one that I
school
can use.
supplies place, they have them. I found, because everywhere I went had whiteboards, not blackboards. So there you go.
Oh, okay.
School
We'll have to.
supplies.
All right.
Yeah.
School supply shops. There you go. That's
Yep.
Would you have done anything differently? Say you were to do it again. You've had 14 months. How would you do things differently?
Oh, how would I have done it differently? Only probably really the setup, like I said about the whole wall thing. Probably would have put a couple of curtains in. What else would I have done? Maybe gone a tiny bit bigger. What else would I have done differently? Maybe have taken the time to be here during the building process, like maybe taken a couple of months off work and come here and actually been here while it was happening.
So you weren't here at all?
No, my husband was here for a little bit of it, and then not through the whole thing, no. So there was a lot of FaceTime going on.
How do you trust someone with your baby over here when you're back in Australia? We hear horror stories of people putting trust into people and having it completely destroyed. So how do you do that?
It's funny because we talked about this last night, and I'm not saying we don't trust our staff. What I'm saying is, yeah, I kind of don't trust anyone 100%, but Darwin's best friend, who he's known forever, he oversees it for us. So he'll go in and collect the cash. He's really good with all, so we trust him 100%, but you really want to have someone that you trust 100%.
Have you thought of going cashless?
No, to be honest, we offer both. So no, I haven't. A lot of people pay with card.
Yeah, well, I've noticed, I mean, everywhere you go now, card. I have some cash. I carry cash on me for when I eat in my rooms, but everywhere else I go, I usually use card. Yeah. And I was thinking, if I was to do something here, I would remove cash completely from the temptation of it being taken, and then you don't have to worry about the cash side of things. We spoke to someone, our first episode, we spoke to a gentleman, Daniel, who owns Scooper Dreams ice cream shop down in Kuta, and he said that at the end of a couple of months into his journey, at the end of the month, his manager ran off with all the month's takings, and he's like, we had no money to pay staff for that month. And he's like, since then, we sort of do hardly any cash because of those challenges. I've had one of my friends here owns a pub in Seminyak, and he's had that for a long time. And his business, his manager, so not the business manager, but the manager of the pub, who has been with him for 13, 14 years, was stealing money every single day of those years. He eventually found out and was able to get a lot of it back, but the manager had brought in some of the other staff members and they were all taking money. And he's like, you know, we paid for this guy's wedding. We went to his wedding. You know, if there was family members that were sick, we helped them. And he used that funny term, Bali family. He was part of our Bali family. What's your opinion on people that have this idea of a Bali family?
I reckon if you've got a big business, you have to live here.
Yeah.
I really do. I think you've got to be in amongst it and checking it. We have a system now, so obviously our camera faces down onto the cashier, so we can see all of that, and it's recorded the whole time, so we can go back and look at that. Our system well, they kind of have to write it. So it's very simple. We have it written down in a book. So they'll look up the clock, 3 p.m., Susanna, and then she'll write the amount of however much the massage is, and then she'll write her commission at the side. And then if it's highlighted, that means they've paid with a card. If it's not highlighted, they've paid with a cash. At the end of the day, the takings go into an envelope with the date on it and everything. So all this is recorded on the camera as well. And since we've done that, we've had no trouble. Before we did that, we had trouble.
What was the trouble?
With us, if the therapist does the service, the massage, whatever it is, and the customer tips that therapist, they get to keep it. So this particular time, the other staff had come to us and said that, a couple had come in and, the husband's paid and he's 20,000 tip for both. She was keeping the tip for herself. And when they brought it to our attention, we watched, we waited. The next time it happened, we caught her doing it, keeping the tip. So she faked an unconscious episode.
Oh, Jesus.
So we had to call the ambulance for her, and she never returned, because just before she faked her unconscious episode, we confronted her on the phone and just said, look, the other staff have mentioned that you haven't passed on the tip. And she became unconscious. And then we had to pay for the ambulance. Funnily enough, it's not funny, but so the ambulance came and picked her up, and then they're out the front of the hospital with her in the ambulance, waiting for us to send the money before they got her out of the ambulance. She was 100% fine. Yeah, and she never returned. We didn't say to her, do not come back. She just never returned.
Yeah, there's a passiveness. I mean, Indonesians are passive people anyway. They tend not to really like confrontation. So that thing you said about not speaking up, and that's a real cultural breakdown between us to Indonesians specifically. And you see that within their language, the way the structure of the language is, I guess, structured. The formal grammars, the grammatical side of it, it's all very passive in the way they do it, and everything comes back. So that situation, they're going to have so much embarrassment and shame, but that temptation is just too strong for some of them, isn't it? Do you think there would be less theft if wages were higher?
I don't know, because they all kind of live, not all, a lot of them live day to day. They don't tend to save because they're fighting for every dollar. So would that, I don't know. I really don't. I often ask myself that question. But we have lent them all money for various things, and they pay it off out of their pay every month, like a new phone, sending them to school, their kid to school, things like that. So we do that. If they're sick, or example, one of them had a very bad tooth, like we'll pay for that. We'll pay for go to the dentist and get the tooth, will end up being a root canal. But, so we'll help with things like that, because they can't afford a $200 root canal. So we do try and help them with things like that. Often the deposit for a motorbike, things like that, we will help them with, and let them pay it off just a little bit each month, so that they're, they can still live and get by. But yeah, I don't know.
So let me ask you a cultural question, something that I've always wondered, and you've probably been in a really good position to answer it, having been married to an Indonesian person for 12 years, I think you said. Is there, and having a business here, is there resentment towards, I guess, Bulays and white people, that they have the things that the Indonesians don't. The fact that they can come on holidays, spend all this money, do these things, live this particular lifestyle. Is there a resentment towards the white people who come to the island?
I actually don't think so. I really don't think there is. And I mean, even during COVID, obviously we didn't have the spa then. So we obviously helped a few of his friends, family, and they've just, you know how appreciative they are of any little help. So no, I don't think there is. I really don't. I mean, well, look what happened to a lot of them during COVID. You know, it's so much tourism that they all lost their jobs. So I really don't think so. No. In my
Interesting.
opinion.
Yeah, that's good. So what's on for like the business going forward? What are you hoping to achieve in the next 12 months?
More customers. Because I'm going to be honest. We will occasionally have a day where we won't have a customer.
What do you do to keep yourself motivated in those times?
Ring them and talk to them a lot.
Because would there be a sense of them feeling like they're failing when they have those days?
No, not at all. So probably in the quieter time has been, you know, our summer. And we'll often say to them, oh, don't worry, it's school holidays soon in Australia, so there'll be more people there. You know, it's really hot in Australia. Who's going to want to come to Bali? Don't worry, it's going to pick up. So we just try and keep encouraging them that it's okay. Yeah, and then actually, surprisingly, I think when you encourage them and lift them up, you know, like us Aussies, I feel like, you know, I know when I'm at work and if I'm having a shit day and my boss tries and lifts me up, I'm like, whatever. But when we lift them up, then they start smiling and they're happy and they're laughing. And yeah, so I think they're easily encouraged. And we just try and make them remember it's going to get better. Don't worry.
Yeah. And do you think that's also a reminder to yourself within there too, that don't worry?
Yeah. You know, and we'll say to them, look, if this goes really well, we'll open 4 spas. You can, because we've only got 4 staff. So, you know, you can all be the manage your own one for us, you know, so we'll do that. Oh, yeah. You can see
you come in at the good time. We're foundation building here. This is a 10-year plan.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Wonderful.
Yeah.
So whereabouts are you located?
Jalan Pelawa. Right next door to Yellowstone Ranch. So yeah, as you keep walking up past Bintang, cross over the road, turn right.
Okay.
There we are.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
It's been so insightful to learn about the journey and the challenges that you're facing, and it's wonderful to see that the challenges are all the same, right? It's this every person we speak to is experiencing the same challenges, and they all say the same thing with advice. Get advice from a lawyer. Don't go in blind. The language skills are a necessity. If you don't have it, learn it, or have someone you can trust who can speak it. And these are the things that I try and tell people from my business journey here as well. That you really do need that advice. You need to know you're safe. You need to know your investment's secure. You need to know that you understand. They need to know you understand, so then they can't try and talk about you, or all those types of things, those challenges that we face in a foreign environment. I think you're so brave to do this. It's inspiring. I wish you and your husband nothing but success with the journey.
Thank you.
And I will do everything I possibly can within my power to get some more awareness of Alami Spa up in Seminyak.
Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. And we'll leave it there. Guys, tune in again next Sunday night, 6:30 Bali time, 8:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time for our next guest. Who that is, you're going to have to stay tuned and we'll find out. And I'll see you soon.